Hey, how y'all doing out there? I got some old crazy news for y'all. It's funny how Kim Porter dead and Cassie's still alive, got $30 million in the bank, got her third baby on the way. She literally full of life, but she the victim. Even though Kim Porter gone, there's been allegations and speculations ever since she passed that Diddy had something to do with it. And when Cassie's trial first started, it was all about Kim Porter. They were saying that Kim Porter gave Cassie a phone full of information that could incriminate Diddy. It's looking like Diddy paid Cassie off to make herself seem like the main victim just to cover up what really happened to Kim Porter. The only thing Cassie said about Kim Porter during the whole trial is that she was jealous of Kim Porter. The whole point of the trial is to paint him out to look like an abuser, but ain't nobody mention him abusing Kim Porter. And then Dawn Richardson, his number one goon, he made her a part of two groups on his label. If anybody loyal to Diddy, it gots to be her. And here she go with her allegations, backing up Cassie. How come she ain't say nothing about Kim Porter? It's looking like Diddy paid her too, because he'll be damned if he went to jail for killing Kim Porter, especially with his kids sitting in the courtroom. It's looking like Cassie is anything and everything but a victim. Ain't nobody come up more than she did. And on top of that, they claiming that she had something to do with Kim Porter's passing as well. And besides, let's be real, the news would rather have Cassie face as a victim over Kim Porter face any day.
Today, for the first time, images shown to the court in the Sean Diddy Combs criminal trial made public. Prosecutors releasing these exhibits. Pictures of Diddy's former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, with what she says are bruises on her back and legs, as well as a gash above her eye. During her more than 20 hours on the stand, Ventura testifying that these injuries occurred during alleged assaults in 2013 and 2016. Also released today, these pictures from when Diddy was arrested at the Park Hyatt Hotel in New York in September of last year. A special agent with Homeland Security testifying last week that the items found included bottles of baby oil and drugs including pink packets of ketamine. Meanwhile, on the stand, singer Dawn Richard offering dramatic and at times tense testimony about the years she spent working for Combs. Richard describing an incident in 2009 when she allegedly saw Diddy assault his then-girlfriend Cassie, testifying the next day she received a call from Diddy with a warning. Richard testifying, quote, "He said you could go missing, that we could die," going on to say, "I was shocked, but also scared."
Well, guess what? Cassie ain't dead, but Kim Porter is. He threatened Cassie. Who's to say he ain't threatened Kim Porter as well? Who's to say he didn't act out those threats? Who's to say that he not the reason why Kim Porter is no longer here? They acting like Cassie dead.
Combs is charged with 5 counts, including sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution, and faces up to life behind bars. He has denied all of the allegations against him. Combs discovering Richard on his hit MTV reality show, Making the Band 3.
Signing her to the hit girl group Danity Kane.
And then later the group Diddy Dirty Money. Diddy's defense team saying Richard's retelling of events has been inconsistent. When challenged today by Combs' attorney Nicole Westmoreland, as time progresses, your story changes. To which Richard responded, yes, adding that it's been difficult to remember these alleged incidents because she's, quote, tried to erase those memories.
Dawn Richardson got them people chasing behind something that ain't even there. She creating a smoke screen. Me personally, I feel like Diddy paid her off just to make this case go the way he wanted to go, because he knew he was gonna go down for something. He just ain't want to go down for the death of Kim Porter. He would rather be an abuser of Cassie before he sit there and let his kids hear about how he abused their mother and allegedly killed their mother. That would be devastating. That would be bigger news. He probably wouldn't have made it through the damn trial. He would have Epstein himself in jail if that was the case. He would have gave all of his money to stay out of that type of trouble. Now it's making sense why he turned himself in, why he going along with this BS, and why everybody going along with the Cassie thing. It seemed like the whole media is working hard to cover up the real facts. Who gives a damn about a freak off? Who cares about him and Cassie being in an abusive relationship? Like I said over and over, Cassie all right, and she gonna be all right. What about Kim Porter?
Combs' lawyer also arguing that Richard filed a civil suit against Combs in 2024, shortly after Ventura went public with her own accusations, saying that Richard only wanted money. But Richard saying it was about justice. Today's testimony wrapping up with a former friend of Ventura and a former personal assistant of Diddy.
And Chloe Malas joins us now from just outside that Manhattan courthouse where everything is playing out inside. Chloe, day one of week 2, you have been in and out of that courtroom since the very beginning. We have already heard dramatic testimony and seen these pictures from the prosecution. What do we expect to happen this week?
So we expect to also have Combs' assistant take the stand once again, a personal chef who once worked for Combs, who is going to talk about a violent night and potentially other violent incidents. We could even hear from Cassie Ventura's mother this week, barring that she doesn't go into labor. And again, the prosecution, they have 6 weeks worth of witnesses.
Chloe Malas, thank you. And NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos joins us now with more. All right, Danny, a lot of new evidence today, right, petering out, including photos that we have from the prosecution. Walk us through this new evidence and what has stood out to you so far.
Well, stood out is a relative term. Standing out in terms of making out the elements of the government's case, it's going to be things like drugs, just like it is things like violence, because those are key to some of the charges here. But stands out in a way that has very little to do with the government's elements of their case, baby oil. Baby oil is one of those pieces of evidence that the government is very good at. They find a sticky, and I'm using that term figuratively, a sticky piece of evidence that jurors will hook onto. A good example is the gold bars in the Menendez case, for example.
I can't believe he said that BS with a straight face. They going on and on about this baby oil like they don't moisturize. They must be some ashy ass people if they making it seem like baby oil is something out of the norm. Come to where I stay at, where I be at, people got baby powder on the rolls of their necks. People put that baby powder in their rolls. They put the baby oil all over their body to stay juicy. It ain't got nothing to do with sex. Grown people where I'm from use baby products. It's not as harsh on the skin as all that other stuff they be selling in the stores. I know somebody right now got baby oil all over her back. These hoes turning into Deucer to rub their body down with that baby oil. Body so juicy, you would have thought they had the hands of the great Khali to rub that baby oil all over their body. It's old ladies out there at Walgreens got the whole store smelling like baby powder. They need to quit speaking on that baby oil because it's a black thing, and I'm feeling disrespected that they making it seem like it's a crime.
This is the kind of stuff that jurors remember. They understand it, and they put it in front of them in picture form, and it's something that they remember when they go to the jury room. Does it have a whole lot to do with the elements of the crimes charged? Not really, but that doesn't really matter. Sometimes it's that kind of evidence that's more compelling than the evidence of the actual elements.
So talk to us about what we heard from some of the witnesses on the stand today, because we heard that former Danity Kane member, Dawn Richard, testify that she saw Diddy allegedly assaulting Cassie back in 2009. When we're thinking about the charges that he is facing and the 5 counts that prosecutors are trying to prove here, how does a story like that, seemingly witnessing a singular act of violence, actually play into the case and what prosecutors are trying to say Diddy has done?
The recurring theme is violence, 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 not because Diddy's been charged with a crime of violence, so to speak. He's not charged with assault. He's not charged with rape. But the violence goes toward coercion. That's one of the elements of the sex trafficking charges. And why is that important? Because coercion requires the fear or threat of something like violence. Consider some of the other evidence today. Ventura apparently told James, Diddy's assistant, that she felt like she couldn't leave because she depended on Combs for everything. That sure feels like coercion, but it may not be coercion as it's defined in the sex trafficking law. So the elements are always key, and the violence really goes to the issue of coercion for sex trafficking, which is arguably the government's strongest charge. It carries the most severe penalties.
Okay, so thus far, do you think prosecutors have been effective at trying to prove that?
Yes. And the government, traditionally, federal prosecutors engage in what we defense attorneys call overkill. They shove a lot of evidence. So you're not just going to get one or two witnesses talking about violence. You're going to get a lot. And there are more to come. People that work for him, prostitutes, escorts. And you're going to hear all of these elements. They're going to sound redundant at some point. But the government does that because they don't like to lose. And they want to overprove every element of their case.
All right. NBC's Dan.
All them people that testified against Diddy was close with him. I'm talking about Cassie's best friend. They used to go on vacations with Diddy. She was his friend because she was Cassie's friend. They all got along well. He paid her off before, talking about he shot a hang at her head, then turned around and gave her $30,000. So how much she getting for showing up to court to paint an image of him being an abuser towards Cassie, to gloss over the fact that he been an abuser to every female he ever been in a relationship with, not to mention one of them turned up dead. It's one thing to have Biggie's blood on your hands. People say he the reason why Craig Mack dead. A whole bunch of people signed to his record label, people in his entourage, people that been around him, turned up missing. And then when Kim Porter passed, automatically people was thinking he had something to do with it. Now he in court. The trial of the century. It's bigger than the OJ trial. It ain't got nothing to do with none of that. They fixated on Cassie. All of the people that's testifying against Diddy got fat pockets. They claiming they trying to get justice for somebody that already got justice. I don't think you can give Cassie no more justice than she already got. Y'all want to know who really needs some justice? Kim Porter, the one that need the justice.
Turn now to the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. It entered its second week of testimony today, and we want to give a warning for our viewers. This story may contain accounts and descriptions, visual content, or actual alleged events that some people may find disturbing. So keep that in mind as we...
Ain't nothing disturbing about Diddy freaking off with Cassie in a consensual relationship. They want him to be Epstein so bad. They trying to put a blackface on them crimes that them other people be doing in Hollywood. Them jillionaires be doing out there. Diddy ain't even got that type of money. He an old black man that like to sip Hennessy and eat chicken wings. He freaked off with Cassie every now and then, paid some boys to come over and tap his young girlfriend. He an old man. People do freaky stuff like that. Diddy sitting there watching, wishing his legs wasn't so bad, wishing his hip wasn't so bad, wishing his back wasn't so bad. He was wishing he was them boys hitting on Cassie like that. He just ain't had the strength in him to do it. That's what old rich men do. Ain't nothing disturbing about it. Quit talking about this man like he Epstein. They don't want no justice for Breonna Taylor. They don't want no justice for Sandra Bland, and they damn sure don't want no justice for Kim Porter. But po Cassie, oh Cassie, he hit Cassie in the hallway. Oh, he had Cassie freaking off with some BBCs. Well, guess what, y'all? Cassie was loving them BBCs.
We tell you that former Danity Kane member Dawn Richard returned to the witness stand today. She told the jury she witnessed Combs attack his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, on several occasions. She witnessed it, she said. The defense attorney for Combs suggested that Richard only agreed to testify against Combs because he allegedly ruined her music career by dismantling that music group. Ventura's best friend, Carrie Morgan, also took the witness stand, and she described 2 assaults she claims she witnessed. Morgan testified that she suggested Ventura leave Combs, but then Ventura answered she couldn't because Combs, quote, controlled everything, unquote. Combs faces 5 charges in total, and he's pleaded not guilty to all of them. So let's bring in ABC News chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky. He's live outside the courthouse in Manhattan, following this trial as he has been. So, Aaron, all eyes now on Cassie Ventura last week. So when she took the witness stand, what do we learn from today's testimony from these witnesses?
Prosecutors were trying to back her up, Terry, starting with Dawn Richard, who said that as a member of Diddy Dirty Money and before that Danity Kane on Making the Band, she was around Sean Combs a lot and saw on several occasions Combs attack Cassie. The first, she said, was with a frying pan. Cassie Ventura had been in the kitchen of his house making eggs. He took a swing at her. Then she curled up in the fetal position. He kicked her and dragged her off the stairs. On cross-examination, the defense tried to question whether her account of that alleged assault had actually changed on several occasions. And Dawn Richard told the jury that, well, it had evolved, but she's doing the best she can to remember it. She also said she witnessed Combs punch Cassie Ventura in the stomach at a dinner that was attended by a number of celebrities, including Usher and Neo.
Well, as you say, this really is about the credibility of the main accuser, Cassie. Dawn Richard has a separate lawsuit against Combs, alleging sexual assault herself. He denies all of that. But does it have any bearing on her credibility on what happens in this case that she's suing the defendant?
Dawn Richard was a part of a group called Diddy Dirty Money. She'll take whatever type of money that man give her. Kim Porter blood money, drug money, whatever money. She down for the money. She ain't no fool. She ain't never bit the hand that fed her thus far. Why would she do it now? Why would she go against somebody that still got control and power over her career? They made music together. They made money together. Dirty money. And they still making money together. Under the table. When he come home, he gonna thank her privately for giving this weak-ass testimony, because if it was anything other than that, he would be headed to jail for the rest of his life.
The defense tried to make it an issue by suggesting that she's just looking for a payday, which is how the defense views a number of Combs's accusers, particularly the ones that have come to testify. But there are other witnesses here, Terry, who are not caught up in any of that. And Carrie Morgan is one of them. And the defense didn't even seem to be questioning her credibility after she said she witnessed Combs attack Cassie on 2 occasions, once in Los Angeles and once in Jamaica, where Carrie Morgan said that Combs had left Ventura with a big welt on her forehead and rendered her almost unconscious for 20 to 30 seconds. On cross-examination, the defense didn't even try to challenge her account, instead focused on times she witnessed Combs being loving with Cassie Ventura.
Okay, and Cassie Ventura's mother, I understand, is going to be taking the stand this week. What does she offer the jury? What does she offer in her testimony in this case?
I think 2 things, Terry. On one hand, she's a mom, and she's going to talk about her concern for her daughter, what she tried or didn't try to do, what her daughter may have said about why she couldn't get out of what even the defense concedes was an abusive relationship. But she also has the pictures, and there are images that the jury has already seen when Cassie Ventura went home to visit her mom in Connecticut, had her shirt lifted, and you could see the welts on her back from a beating that she said Combs had taken out on her. And so undoubtedly she's going to be asked about that moment and just affirm that Cassie Ventura was telling the truth about that alleged assault.
When they gonna have Kim Porter parents come up there and talk about that funeral and the mysterious death and what was going on with Kim Porter and Diddy before she passed away? They talking about having Cassie mother come up there. I hope they got a translator. They better hope her daddy don't run in there with a machete and Jackie Chan drop kick the judge. Diddy better be careful, because Cassie mama might put something in his rice. He be in jail eating. Next thing you know, he don't wake up in the morning. The trial really gonna be over. What about Kim Porter, man? She still got siblings, relatives out there. She was abused. He hit on her. They got accounts where he broke her nose and things. What about that? The hell with Cassie and her mama. They all right? Shit, give Kim Porter family $30 million.
All right, no question. That is going to be dramatic and disturbing. Aaron Katersky, thanks very much for being on this story. Appreciate it. Well, for more analysis, ABC News legal contributor and criminal defense attorney Shauna Lloyd joins us now. Shauna, good to see you. First, Dawn Richard and Cassie Ventura's former best friend. They both say that they witnessed Combs abusing Ventura. So that sounds like powerful testimony for the prosecution here. But what does a jury make of that, given what we just heard from Aaron, were the possible avenues of cross-examination?
Well, when we look at this, Terry, we're going to break them down. Let's talk about Dawn Richardson. Dawn Richards came on the stand. She testified to having seen these graphic and violent moments where Sean Combs is punching Cassie and attacking her with a frying pan. However, on cross-examination, we see that her story has changed basically from when she was interviewing with the United States prosecution, and her stories changed very differently. Things that she was saying on the stand were not reflected in any of the 8 other interviews that she conducted. So when a jury is looking at that, they still have to assess the credibility of each witness on the stand to make a determination as to how much credence they should give her testimony about the facts that she's recounting. So the defense bringing out those variations in her story that have happened are very significant, and the jury's going to scrutinize that. Now, when we look at Carrie's testimony was very straightforward. She didn't vary. She was very factual in her testimony. I think she comes across as very credible. She recounts these instances and how the violence was so much that she actually broke off a very long-term friendship with Cassie because of the violence that was inflicted upon her. Because let's remember that Sean Combs came into a room and hit her in the head with a hanger, and she said she had a concussion afterwards, and she said that was enough for her.
All right, so Carrie Morgan was on the witness stand, and she claimed that Combs, in her testimony, she said he assaulted her, paid her $30,000 after she threatened a lawsuit. So obviously, this is very strong evidence for the prosecution.
Absolutely, because they actually have this violence directed towards someone that's in Cassie's orbit. So again, she was witnessing and victim to it. And she said that she actually made a settlement with Cassie and that Cassie paid her this money, but that she knew that it had come from Sean Combs. It was to the tune of $30,000. She said she did sign an NDA in exchange for that money, so she would not talk about the incidents and what happened. But she did say that it affected her so much that it ended the relationship, and that's how she felt. She felt that strongly about that level of violence. But obviously, anytime we hear about witnesses accepting money in exchange for anything, it always speaks to credibility. But then again, the jury gets to look at them, they get to hear the stories for themselves, and they always make an assessment about the credibility of the witness when they're there on the stand. So that's really what the jury is looking at with each one of these witnesses separately.
Absolutely, they'll take it into account, but they're the ones, as you point out, who are looking at the witness themselves and can make their own judgment. Shauna Lloyd, thanks very much.
I don't know, man. Y'all gonna have to let me know how y'all feel about it in the comment section. I wouldn't be surprised if Diddy freaked off with Cassie's best friend too. I know he don't freaked off with Dawn Richardson. If he the freak, like how they saying he is, and then they all get to court and they all focused on his sexual relationship with Cassie, it got me thinking he wasn't getting it in with nobody else. He was all about watching Cassie do her thing. He ain't had nobody on the side. They make it seem like he ain't have girlfriends or boyfriends and all this madness they was talking about before the trial started. What happened to all of that? What happened to the underground tunnels and things? He paid them people to shut all that down. That's what happened. He just want to fixate on Cassie. Don't talk about nothing else going on. Don't talk about what happened with his son. Somebody getting killed at the college and all this madness that was going on in his life. They acting like they don't know that none of that stuff existed. Like they afraid to bring up that type of stuff in court. They trying to put him in jail for the rest of his life for Cassie and Kim Porter dead. Something ain't right with this man. Me personally, I feel like he paid Cassie to go along with this narrative because she just as complicated in the situation as he is. I think she has something to do with Kim Porter too. They working together just to put more dirt on top of Kim Porter's casket. Allegedly. I don't know this stuff for sure, but that's what it seemed like to me. Let me know what it seemed like to y'all. I ain't got nothing but love for my people out there watching, all the people that hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Y'all know what it is, and I need y'all to do one more thing for me. Subscribe to my channel if that's what you want.
Subscribe to my channel if that's what you want, but if that's not what you like, then you must be a punk. Hold on now, here we go. Who is this girl? She got that junk in her trunk. Baby girl, back it up, poke out your rump. It's S.A.T that you want, and my music hit so hard, make you say, oh my God.